Right now at 5, the snow and ice turned 4 state roads into a dangerous mess for some drivers.
And we're not quite out of that mess yet. A number of schools and organizations closed again today. Roads still slick and hazardous in spots. We'll have a look at those road conditions and how cold it's going to be today coming up.
Plus, we get a plow's eye view of one man keeping the roads safer for all of us.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. So, of course, we had that. Oh, by the way, it's Thursday.
Yes.
It's going to be kind of important to keep track of days. We've had now 2 days of a number of school cancellations across the area. It is, February the 13th, day before Valentine's Day. I mean, I hope.
It's Galentine's Day.
I've heard of this.
For like your girlfriends, your friends, you have Galentine's Day. So it's like you can celebrate Valentine's Day on February 14th, but
Galentine's Day is like for your friends.
Yes,
and then
exactly.
Valentine's Day is for your significant other.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
I've learned something today.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, see, even if the kids are at home and out of school, we can keep them educated right here on the KOAM Morning News. Let's take a look, though. We're going to go through the same situation we did yesterday. We're going to take a look at roads across the area. You can see crews are out right now. This is a live look downtown Pittsburgh, but I'm going to tell you, it is very hit and miss on those road conditions as well. You could drive for several miles on a road and it's fine, and then all of a sudden it's not. And so you're going to have to slow down. You're going to need to watch out and look out for that black ice. I'm going to tell you, it's the number one thing I personally encountered on the way up here was black ice. It's not so much the snow cover, which is easy to see. It's a lot of ice on the roadways. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line. Roads are looking better here. And don't get me wrong, there's a number of main roads that look just fine. 20th and range lines is looking back to the south toward 24th Street. Looks okay as well. MoDOT cameras on the interstates, around the interstate around the metro area, and you can see most of the main roads are pretty darn good. But as we tell you too, the bridges, overpasses, those on-ramps, things like that, and some of the rural roads are not in such great shape. KDOT camera 69 and East 520th Avenue. You can see there's a little bit here on the southbound lanes of 69. I'm waiting for this car to pass, and we can see there's still slush right down the middle here, and onto the southbound lanes. So you're going to have to slow down. Crews are still working. They're going to get it, but it got so cold, anything they did would have refrozen overnight. We also have cold weather advisories through 9 a.m. for Oklahoma and Arkansas, and that is because, it is dangerously cold in some cases out there. The future track, though, looks great. Could have a few clouds here and there. Otherwise, sunny skies. It's these temperatures that really kind of suck. We're only going to make it into about the upper 20s today for most of us, but the winds should be light and variable, so we're not dealing with significant wind chills, but it is still cold. Look at these numbers. We have 5 Yates Center in Iola, 4 in Neodesha and Parsons. We got single digits and low teens, and then even with the light breeze this morning, look at these wind chills. Feels like 10 below in Iola, 9 below Yates Center and Fort Scott. So a bitterly cold start today. Maybe not so bad that some kids are not going back to school just yet, because I would hate for them to be out there waiting for that bus. So partly cloudy through the morning. Skies will be clearing into the afternoon. Mostly clear or straight up clear, but very cold. Upper 20s for our highs. Now, it is going to warm up again, and then it's probably going to snow again. And we'll go over all those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. An Altoona, Kansas man will soon head to prison for child sex crimes. A Montgomery County court sentenced Mickey Collerman to more than 5 years in prison after being convicted on 9 counts of sexual exploitation of a child. The convictions come 6 years after authorities arrested Collerman when they discovered pornographic images of a child on his personal device. A Collerman must also register as a lifetime sexual offender and complete 24 months of post-release supervision. We apologize for that technical difficulty there. But of course, to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. All roads of the 4 states were packed with snow, leading to multiple crashes all around the area. Now, it's still bad on some highways and worse on many side roads. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
Road conditions deteriorated earlier this morning.
Snowy roads across the 4-state area caused some hazardous road conditions.
Suddenly hitting a slick spot, or a spot that's starts to refreeze with the temperature starting, as temperatures start to drop.
And Cherokee County is no different. Cherokee County Sheriff's Department responded to 6 accidents, although Sheriff Brian Henderson says there's evidence that there may have been more accidents in Cherokee County.
One injury crash that resulted in a occupant of the vehicle being transported to the hospital.
The head-on crash that took place on Highway 69 in Cherokee County sent 2 people to the hospital. Other areas in southeast Kansas also dealt with the difficult road conditions. Crawford County responded to about 17 accidents, and Bourbon County dealt with about 4 slide-offs. Sheriff Brian Henderson says it's best to stay off the roads if you can.
And they slide off or they leave the roadway, they're putting others in danger because somebody has to respond to that crash. And then as we're responding, other vehicles are yielding to us, and sometimes, for example, tractor trailers, if they stop on a hill, they can't get going again because they can't get the traction.
And in Missouri, there was a rollover crash on Range Line near River Road. One woman suffered non-life-threatening injuries. In Jasper County, there were a few cars that slid off the road as well. Sheriff Brian Henderson says if you do have to travel, it's best to have a safety kit in case an emergency takes place.
Safety plan in place of making sure they do have some blankets and water and things, that secure safety kit with them at all times.
I'm Melissa Alexis reporting.
Cherokee County Sheriff Brian Henderson says if you do have to travel in the snow, it's best to leave early so you have extra time to slow down. Crews with the Department of Transportation in Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma say they've been working nonstop to try and treat roadways. Area cities say they also have crews working to plow and salt major roads. Workers have been on the road since Tuesday night to try and get as much snow and ice cleared as possible.
We have most of our roads are still completely covered with snow and ice. We had a little bit of ice come in before the snow, so it is treacherous, and we would advise people to delay travel. Our crews are out working 24/7. And we are covering all the highways.
Road crews for both the cities and highways ask that drivers do not try to pass them when they're working on clearing roadways. And they say they're out there because it's slick, so trying to pass is not safe. You can get the latest road conditions and power outages across the area anytime through this QR code. Now it'll direct you to links on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, for information for each of the 4 states in our viewing area. Well, even if the worst of the weather has passed, some schools like Commerce, Oklahoma have already announced school will be canceled today. Now, to stay up on all of the latest school, government, and church closings, you can just scan this QR code and go straight to the closings page of our website. And let's look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Pitt State women's basketball is in the top 5 for the first time in 8 years. Plus, Prince William helped out some film students at the London Screen Academy. And we have a cold and sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Pitt State basketball had the day off yesterday, but this afternoon both Gorilla teams face Missouri Western up in St. Joe. The women's game will be a battle of a couple of the top teams in the MIAA. The WBCA coaches poll was released, and Pitt State moves up to the number 5 spot in the nation. This is the highest ranking that PSU has had since 2017, and it comes while Amanda David's team is in the midst of a 12-game winning streak. Yet even though the Gorillas are undefeated in conference play, if the regular season were to end right now, they wouldn't be the number 1 seed in the conference tournament. And here's why. This week, we're going to get a look at the first MIAA KPI standings of the year. Instead of wins and losses, the conference will be using this metric to determine seeding for the MIAA tournament next month. So despite being the only team undefeated in conference play, Pitt State is ranked 3rd in KPI. The Gorillas play Missouri Western today, who's 1st. Missouri Southern is 8th. Only the top 10 teams will make the tournament. And here's a look at the KPI standings on the men's side. Pittsburgh State ranks third, despite being in second in the traditional standings. Missouri Southern is 11th, which means if the regular season were to end today, the Lions would not be able to participate in the MIAA tournament. KPI standings will be updated and published twice more on February 17th and the 24th. And on the heels of Sunday's 40-22 loss to the Eagles in Super Bowl 59, Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce and his brother Jason released an episode of their podcast yesterday morning where Travis speaks on the possibility of retirement.
Focusing on your craft, focusing on the task at hand, every challenge that you set up for yourself. And it's that process can be grueling. It can weigh on you. It can make you better, and it can drive you crazy at the same time. And right now, it's one of those things where it was kind of driving me crazy this year. And I think that it happens as you kind of tail off towards the back nine of your career, as the SVP would say. Is it's as you see yourself or not feel yourself have the success that you once used to have. Man, it's a tough pill to swallow. And then on top of that, to not be there in the biggest moments, knowing your team's counting on you, man. Those are all extremely hard things to it's just a tough reality.
Well, still to come, a new study reveals that playful people are more resilient during tough times. Plus, have another check of that forecast, bitterly cold temperatures and the warm weather and the additional snow chances when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:16 now on this Thursday morning, and the philosophical discussions that take place here are just unfathomable. All right, we're having some great talks in the commercial break. We're really hunkering down here. Let's take a look at road conditions. I know a lot of folks are probably seeing the closings at the bottom of the screen. You probably checked out online, or in some cases, in this day and age, you probably just got the notification on your cell phone. I remember, my mom had to wake up super early to watch the morning news to catch the latest school closings because that was the only way you knew. And if you missed it, you had to wait for the whole cycle again. But technology these days. So that was downtown Pittsburgh. We're looking better. I-44, MoDOT cameras around the area, they are again improved. But the thing that at least I personally ran into, and this is what I'm going to tell you about, is bridges, overpasses, and the on-ramps, then the exit ramps, are still dealing with some patchy black ice. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline looks pretty good. They've got it zoomed in toward 24th Street, but you can see otherwise, at least in his car's headlights, it's fairly clear. Most of the main roads are. In a lot of cases, it's the side roads that are still pretty yucky. 32nd and Rangeline looks good. Still some snow in the median, and this right turn lane looks okay so far as well, but you still want to slow down. KDOT camera at Kansas Crossing. So again, this is if you're coming out of the casino heading south to the traffic light. And if you look, you can see these little dark spots here. That's where you've got to watch for that black ice. And that's really the number one concern across the area this morning. It's the black ice. Old 96 on the Kansas side, from 100th Avenue to the four-way stop. If you're heading to Columbus or south to Crestline, the entire westbound lane, 98% of it is a sheet of ice, but the eastbound lane is clear. You've got to slow down because that black ice will sneak up on you too. Looking good there. In terms of actual road conditions, you can see drastic improvements across the state of Kansas. We have what they call wet pavement, which is what's in the green. The blue is clear. And we do have still some partially covered highways out there. So again, you've got to slow down, be prepared. The Missouri side, a number of improvements as well. Still some partially covered. This is 43 coming through Barton County up to 54, and parts of 160 from the state line to 43 still listed as mostly clear at this point. But still, you want to slow down, you want to be cautious. On top of that, it's bitterly cold weather advisories, Oklahoma, Arkansas through 9 a.m. because we're dealing with wind chills well below zero in some cases. And they're not going to be doing too much warming out there today. We'll have mostly clear skies, maybe a cloud or two. Winds should be light and variable, so while it will make it feel a little cooler, it won't feel considerably colder, which is good. It's going to be cold enough out there. Then we go into, and I want to talk very quickly about what we're expecting as we go through the next couple of days. Now, tomorrow, temperatures will actually rise for some of us overnight. Future track showing snow flurries. I do not think that's going to happen tomorrow. We're just looking at the winds increasing out of the south and the temperatures increasing and the clouds increasing. And all of that is ahead of rain chances initially on Saturday. The first half of the day, we're going to be warm enough. Anything we see rain, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder. But as we go later into the day, you see that wind shift line? Yeah, that's a cold front coming through. And temperatures are going to drop pretty quickly back behind it, which is going to lead to at least an opportunity for a brief transition to some light snow across the area as we head into Saturday evening in the overnight hours. We're not expecting much in the way of accumulation with this, but it is still a distinct possibility for some additional light snow Saturday night after the rain. South winds tomorrow, by the way, gusting upwards of about 30. Today, upper 20s for our highs, and then we'll go into the mid to upper 40s tomorrow, and then upper 40s, low 50s on Saturday. Cold again, warm again, cold again, maybe some snow on Tuesday, and then temperatures cold initially next week, but warming up again by next weekend. Let's check your forecast. We're going to be back with Health Watch right after this.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning, Ozempic reduced alcohol consumption in the first trial of the diabetes and weight loss drug for alcohol use disorder. Now, the study involved 48 people with signs of moderate alcohol use disorder. AUD affects nearly 30 million people in the U.S. The study found those taking low doses of semaglutide, the generic name of Ozempic, for 9 weeks saw significantly greater reductions in how much alcohol they drank compared with people on a placebo. They also saw significantly greater reductions in cravings for alcohol. It's important to note this first clinic trial was relatively small and limited in duration. Larger trials will be needed to determine whether the drugs are a new possible treatment. Well, a new survey sheds light on how comfortable women feel with female doctors. A national survey conducted by El Camino Health reveals about 59% of women say a female physician can relate to their concerns, symptoms, and experiences better. But finding a female heart health doctor might not be so easy. According to the U.S. Physician Workforce Database dashboard, women represent only 17% of cardiologists. Now, that's the lowest specialties among women physicians, considering heart disease is the leading cause of death for women. El Camino Health says some of the ways to address these issues is not only listening to women's concerns, but also providing preventative care. And a new study reveals how people who dedicate their life to fun are more resilient during difficult times. Researchers from Oregon State and Vanderbilt University analyzed how people with varying levels of playfulness responded during COVID-19. They found that people who are more playful have color spotlight, which is the ability to create positive experiences for growth even during difficult times. Researchers have dubbed this lemonading. Previous research has linked being playful with better health circumstances and a greater level of happiness. But this study is one of the first to analyze how playful people perceive and react to their environment. And it's Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week. Now, in the U.S., the CDC says a baby with a heart defect is born every 15 minutes. Now, while these defects range in severity, early detection is critical. Andy Gaither explains why and goes over the factors that increase the risk of a congenital heart defect developing.
It's a problem present at birth, affecting the structure of a baby's heart. Congenital heart defects range substantially from mild to severe.
And so really kind of seeing someone that has the expertise and the ability to differentiate between the two is important.
Dr. Glenn Iannucci with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says initial symptoms may only be an extra sound or murmur found during a cardiac physical exam, or there may be an abnormality found on an x-ray. Some heart defects can also be found during pregnancy through a special type of ultrasound called a fetal echocardiogram.
But other signs can be kind of trouble feeding, persistent fast breathing, and poor weight gain in babies in particular.
The exact cause of most heart defects isn't fully known, but there are things that increase risk, including the mother having certain pre-existing conditions like diabetes or obesity, a family history of congenital heart defects, smoking during pregnancy, or certain medications taken during pregnancy.
If you know kind of what you're dealing with at the beginning, then really you can often be in front of the patient even developing symptoms.
Even though many heart defects aren't cured, advancements in care and treatments have led to longer and healthier lives in those who have them.
There are a wide variety of treatments that can include surgery, but can also include some non-invasive approaches.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Congenital heart defects may not be found until later in childhood or into adulthood, but the doctor says some signs that someone may have an underlying heart problem include chest pain with activity and fainting spells, especially during exertion. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got a bitterly cold start to the day. A number of schools and organizations closed again due to some slick spots on the road. So look at your forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, before you hit the road, experts warn drivers to clear all parts of their vehicles for safety.
And if you are hitting the road, be aware it is going to be slick in some spots. That's why we have some closings out there once again. We'll have a look at that forecast and the road conditions coming up.
Plus, after a day of messy road conditions, we've got good news for some drivers in Joplin.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Thursday. It is I said November again.
November.
It is February the 13th. You told me it's Valentine's Day.
Yes, it's for your friends, but it's specifically for the girls, so like you're not invited.
Oh, well, that's honestly, that's probably why I've never heard of it until now.
Maybe.
That might be. Of course, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Now, with the road conditions the way they were, hopefully you got some of your Valentine's Day stuff done, before yesterday.
Yeah. Might be busy tomorrow.
Might be. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, though, I am really bad. I buy it at the last minute because there's so much stuff on Valentine's Day it can go bad. It expires.
Right, like flowers or
and if
specialty chocolates, things like that.
Exactly. If I buy it too early, it's going to be bad by the time I can give it to her. So I'm just going to go to the store the day of, grab what I can, and be like, here you go.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, if you're doing that on like Christmas or other holidays, but Valentine's Day, I agree with you.
It's got to be fresh. Got to be fresh. So be prepared to be fresh. Be prepared to have the kids at home. I have one of them here with me because a number of schools and organizations closed once again. We got that list on our website as well. And here's why. Let's look outside downtown Pittsburgh. It looks all right. And I want to be serious here. Be straightforward. I know the road crews are out there doing their job. This is not the road crew's fault. This is simply the fact that it's really stupid cold outside and we had thunder snow. I mean, we had heavy snow come down pretty quickly. We had sleet and then that all froze. Anything that melted yesterday froze. So that's the other thing. Black ice is truly the biggest concern for us today. 32nd in range line. Again, for the most part, majority of the main roads are clear. There are still slick spots here and there. There's still going to be black ice here and there, mainly on the bridges and overpasses and exit ramps, on ramps, things like that. But we will see it possibly in other spots as well. And because it's black ice, you may not see it until you're on it. So you've still got to be careful. Even if the road seems clear, you've got to slow down. Another great example, the southbound lanes of 69 here at East 520th Avenue, still got some slick spots, still got some snow cover on there, but the northbound lanes look considerably better. And I know crews are going to be out there, going to be doing their thing, but you've got to slow down. You've also got to let them do their job. So if you don't have to be out today with those closings, don't. Let them get this cleared out so you can do your Valentine's Day stuff. I got that cold weather advisory, Oklahoma and Arkansas through 9 a.m. because it is bitterly cold out there. On to the future track. We'll have light and variable winds into the afternoon, so we're not going to be dealing with significant wind chills, but it's still going to be cold. Most of us only into the upper 20s, but we'll have a little more sunshine, mostly clear skies, maybe just a cloud here or there. And here's why the sunshine's at least good. Look at these temperatures. 5 is where we're at in Iola, 3 in the Odyssey. All right, and these are not the feels like, these are the air temperatures. And we factor in the wind chills, feels like 9 below in Yates Center and Iola. Feels like 6 below Independence, 7 below in Fort Scott. So you kind of get the idea. It feels like 0 Carthage, Neosho, Monette, Newata. it's bitterly cold, which maybe it's a good thing some of the kids aren't going back to school today because it is very cold out there. Partly cloudy skies to start, then mostly clear again, maybe a passing cloud or two, and most of us upper 20s for those highs. Now we are going to warm up, and then it's going to rain, and then it's maybe going to snow again, and it's going to get really cold again. We'll go over all those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, as you go out to your car, you might find it covered in snow and ice. Now, for the safety of others and yourself, local experts want to remind drivers to clear off all parts of their vehicles before taking off. KOAM's Lonnie Walton has more.
A few years ago, we were coming through Iowa, and there was a snowplow on the road, but the lights on the back of the snowplow was covered with snow.
Mike Gideon is the owner of Gideon Auto and Tire in Joplin. He says he once encountered a vehicle he could barely see because his taillights were covered in snow.
To come up on a vehicle going significantly slower without being able to see him was a problem.
Now, while Gideon is worried about those taillights, AAA spokesperson Nick Shabaria says the top of the car is also important.
Any snow or ice left on a vehicle, on the roof, for example, that's going to become dislodged, and it can become dislodged while you're driving.
Shabaria says these chunks of ice carry a heavy punch.
Those chunks of ice coming off your vehicle can have the same force as bricks being thrown from your vehicle.
Shabaria and Gideon both understand it's freezing outside, but some things need a little more attention.
Make sure you're clearing off all the snow and ice from your vehicle, paying particular attention to the hood and the roof, especially if you have an SUV or a vehicle that has a roof rack.
Down the road, the snow on the hood will blow up onto the windshield, so you need to at least clear the front of the car. Obviously, you want to make sure all the windows are clear, your mirrors are clear, and that the lights on the car are clear.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Now, Gideon says one of the places he sees people forget is the taillights and brake lights. Now, he says the more you clear off, of course, the better. Well, we do have some good road news for you. The city of Joplin announces St. Louis Avenue near 9th Street will reopen. They say there will be full access along this main corridor. Now, work in this area will now shift to the east as stormwater work progresses on South Connecticut Avenue. Drivers may want to find a detour from East Campbell Parkway to East 8th Street. Weather permitting, the work should be completed in early March. And the nomination round is over. Now it's time to officially vote for who you think is the 4 states' finest. Now choose from 5 different categories: eating and drinking, arts and entertainment, health and fitness, services, and shopping from businesses across the 4 states. You can scan this QR code or head over to KOAMnewsnow.com/finest to cast your votes. But don't wait, because voting ends February 19th. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Firefighters struggle to rescue carnival workers from a factory fire in Rio de Janeiro. Plus, the U.S. Secretary of Defense tries to come up with a deal to end the Russia and Ukraine war. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Well, topping World Watch, film students show Prince William the ropes of their creative process at the London Screen Academy. The Prince meeting with students on Wednesday. It's his latest at his role of the president of BAFTA, the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. Well, students shared their experiences in making a collaborative filmmaking project. Prince William even had an opportunity to assist in filming a scene for their film Melomania. Now, the Prince and Princess of Wales will, however, not attend this year's BAFTA Film Awards on Sunday. And at least 20 people were injured, 10 critically, after a fire destroyed a clothing factory in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Wednesday. Firefighters managed to rescue workers stuck on the top floor by cutting the steel windows and placing a ladder for the group to exit. The factory is one of the most used by schools in the area. Now, it is making costumes for carnival celebrations, the city's famed extravaganza, starting this month. A survivor told local media she had been working and sleeping in the building since Monday, and that the fire came from the floor below and they had no way to get out. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth made President Trump's message clear about the war in Ukraine. Lucas Tomlinson has the latest from Brussels.
Returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says any deal to end the war must involve the deployment of European soldiers with the following caveat.
They should be deployed as part of a non-NATO mission, and they should not be covered under Article 5.
Article 5 of the NATO Charter says an attack on one member triggers a military response from the alliance, a cornerstone of American foreign policy. So any foreign troops who deploy to Ukraine, even those in the alliance, would not have NATO protection if attacked. NATO headquarters in Brussels, Hegseth had a previously unscheduled meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart and later ended any hopes for Ukraine to join the alliance face to face.
The United States does not believe that NATO membership for Ukraine is a realistic outcome of a negotiated settlement.
Lithuania's former top diplomat took to X to voice his displeasure. If this deal produces a piece of paper guaranteeing peace for our time, we should call it Munich II, a reference to the 1938 Munich Agreement, which appeased Hitler's expansion of Nazi Germany into Czechoslovakia, ultimately leading to the start of World War II. Hegseth also had a blunt message for NATO allies, following President Trump's call for the alliance to spend 5% of their gross domestic product on defense. The U.S. currently spends 3.4%.
The United States will no longer tolerate an imbalanced relationship which encourages dependency.
A message reinforced to German and British counterparts today.
We also hear your concerns. On stepping up for Ukraine, we are and we will. On stepping up for European security, we are and we will.
Defense Secretary Hegseth returns to NATO headquarters, where he's likely to deliver more blunt messages and answer questions from the press.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:45 now on this Thursday morning, and we're going to take a quicker look at road conditions. So you can see downtown Pittsburgh looking better. Road crews have been out. We got some slush here in the center lanes, of course, in some of the parking spaces. Black ice is the top concern because we got some melting. And of course, road crews were out doing their thing. But unfortunately, some of it refroze, and you've got to watch out. Now, here on the MoDOT cameras on I-44, just kind of around the metro area, you can see they look pretty good as well. But I'm going to tell you right now, you can still run into that black ice, especially bridges, overpasses, and those on-ramps and exit ramps. You want to slow down because there are going to be some spots that are going to be a little bit on the slick side still, and especially a lot of the side roads and back roads. That's why a number of schools and organizations are closed again today. It's not so much the main roads being a problem. It's a lot of those back roads that you can't get through as easily. And again, a lot of it refroze yesterday. We got some melting. I had clear tracks on the street I live on in Joplin, it's a side street. But where we had the clear spots, we also had black ice because some of that stuff melted and refroze. KDOT camera south of Pittsburgh. The southbound lanes of 69 here still had, and we're going to see as this car passes, and I bet we'll still see the same thing. Still a little bit of, you can see some snow, some slick spots out there into the southbound lanes, but northbound lanes are looking better. And again, crews are out there doing their thing, and if you don't need to be out, don't, because that'll give them more time and more space to do what they need to do to make sure these roads are clear, especially as we head into Valentine's Day. Still some partially covered roadways, especially into our corners here of southeastern Kansas, and still what they call wet pavement, so still slick spots out there on the highways that are marked in green. On the Missouri side, again, looking a lot better, a lot of improvements, still partially covered or mostly clear. 43 from 160 to 54, and from the state on 160 from the state line to 43. And we still have some, if you look close enough, you can see little blue spots on some of the roadways in Joplin still listed as mostly clear. We also have cold weather advisories, northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas through 9 a.m. because, well, it is downright cold out there. If you haven't been out, and maybe you don't have to, don't. Okay, I didn't want to go out this morning. Believe me, I would rather do this from the comfort of my living room because it is too cold to go outside. By noon, it's not going to be much warmer. Winds, thankfully, by this afternoon, will be light and variable. So we're not looking at major wind chills, but even a light breeze when it's only 15 degrees outside, it's still going to feel pretty cold. Winds will shift out of the east later this evening and overnight. We'll start to see a few clouds as we head toward tomorrow morning, and winds will start to shift out of the south, and they're going to start gusting upwards of 30. That's going to allow temperatures to warm. Future track is putting like some wintry precipitation on tomorrow. I don't think we're really going to see anything in terms of precipitation. We are just simply going to be looking at clouds increasing. Mostly cloudy. It's going to be warmer, so we go a little closer to normal, mid-upper 40s out there. Then we go into Saturday, and Saturday is where things change. We start even early in the morning. Scattered showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder or two. No severe weather or anything like that, but a couple of thunderstorms may be possible. However, you see how the winds are shifting by the afternoon? That cold front pushes through. Temperatures will begin to fall behind that front. Winds shift out of the north, and we could see some of this rain transfer over to snow as we go into Saturday night, as temperatures continue to drop through the evening and overnight hours. As you can see, they dropping back already into 19 in Yates Center. We're not expecting any major accumulations with that activity Saturday, but still slick spots possible heading into Sunday morning. Very cold out there right now. These are the actual temperatures. We got 5 in Iola, 3 in Neodesha right now, so single digits and low to mid-teens. And then with even the breeze we have now, feels like 10 below zero in Yates Center and Iola. So again, if you don't have to be out today, don't. It is far too cold out there. Through the morning hours, again, very cold. Teens to start and about 20 by 11 a.m. ahead of our highs going into the upper 20s for us. We'll be cold again tonight, mid-40s tomorrow, near 50 on Saturday. Much colder again, and still watching that possibility of a wintry mix next Tuesday with more cold air. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more after this.
Well, a highway mishap could have meant losing decades of memories for one woman in Colorado, but an unexpected kindness from a stranger and a little internet sleuthing reunited her with a trove of photos. Amanda Gilbert has the story.
This is a high school dance in 1999.
Sometimes it's good to look back at the past.
Pictures with my family.
For Erica Bloom, it's a joy to relive moments.
Tailgating at an Iowa game. The Iowa Hawkeyes are huge.
And it's important to remember her people.
This is a picture of my friend that passed away, so having these are priceless.
Erica thought these priceless photos were safe.
They mean so much to me.
This month, her family's been slowly packing to move from Fort Collins to Iowa.
By the way, each of those totes are 49.5 pounds. Like pictures.
Erica's husband had a trailer's worth of totes and more on the way to their new home when she got a call.
We didn't get a call until, 1 o'clock or so from New Raymer about the pictures that he found on the side of the road, along with a lot of other sentimental items of mine.
Somehow, the back of the trailer opened without her husband's knowledge.
Yeah, so I think that's from the road.
While this was sprawled across Highway 14 near New Raymer.
I don't know if it was hit by a semi.
Mike Swan had just left his job at Wicked Welds in Fort Collins.
I specialize in wiring and plumbing on classic cars.
He was headed to Nebraska.
I saw this tote right in the middle of the highway, and I'm thinking, my God, if I were to hit that, it'd absolutely destroy my car, so I couldn't just leave it there.
Then Mike noticed all the photos.
On one of the envelopes, it had this gal's name. So I started digging some more, and I went over to her profile page, and I actually found one of her posts from like 2 years ago that said, if you'd like to make reservations, please call Erica at this number.
They could be floating in the wind. Like nobody had to take the initiative.
While Mike saved Erica's husband from a scolding.
Yes, I think he would have been in the eternal doghouse.
This small act of kindness created another memory for Erica.
My rugby friends and I.
One she's happy to look back at.
That might be my final memory of Colorado, and what a way to go, right?
Well, another man, Kyle, with the New Raymer Fire Department, also helped gather some of the belongings and totes that fell on the highway. Stick around. We'll be right back. Well, people are picking pets over partners this Valentine's Day. Data from pet tech brand Pet Libro indicates 85% of those surveyed plan to do something special for their pets this Friday. Now, around 60% say their pet is a better listener and more emotionally comforting than their partner. And almost 1 in 2 Gen Zers would cancel their V-Day plans to spend more time with their furry companion. Now, that's not all. Even on Valentine's Day, almost half of those surveyed say their animal gets first dibs on the bed over their partner. And today is a Gouda Day indeed. It's National Cheddar Day, the key ingredient in the classic grilled cheese sandwich. Now, cheddar was first produced in the village of Cheddar in England in the 20th century. Now, half of all UK cheese sales are cheddar. In the U.S., a third of cheese sales are cheddar. And you can mark the day by sharing your favorite recipes involving cheddar, host a wine and cheese party, or simply enjoy a grilled cheese sandwich. The Tillamook County Creamery Cooperation in Oregon created this cheesy day in 2019 to celebrate the farmer-owned cooperative's 110th anniversary.
This has got to be the most recent national day or international day that I think we've ever had.
Yeah,
most have
6
been going
years.
on for like a long, long
That's
time.
crazy.
Okay, interesting. Well, hopefully you've got cheddar at home because you probably don't want to go outside and get any because look at that. Who wants to go out in that? Siberian Huskies, perhaps, and those who are like Elise Noe from the north.
I don't like this. It's freezing.
Where
Don't go
this is perfectly fine. This is mild, but we're going to start in the teens, about 20 by 11, partly cloudy skies, and eventually we'll have some clearing, maybe a cloud here or there this afternoon. Not very warm though. Into the upper 20s. Winds will be light and variable, and then overnight winds pick up east at 5 to 10. We'll fall back into the low 20s and upper teens with just a few clouds overnight. Clouds will increase tomorrow, but warmer. South winds gusting to 30, mid upper 40s, low 50s. Rain Saturday could turn into snow by late Saturday evening. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more after this.